this is Cinema.
And this is Johannes.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And welcome back to another Rambling Reviews, where we give you more reviews of more games in one video.
Yes, we have 3 games, or like 5 games.
But 3 are 1. 3 are 1 and 1 is 2. This is a kind of like a mixed bag of games.
Oh yeah.
Because we have an escape room series of games, we have an expansion, and we have a remake of Libertalia.
Yeah.
So, first of all, as you know, all of these are review copies, just to get that out of the way. So we did get them for review purposes.
Yes.
But that will not change how we look at the games, but just so you know, if there's any bias in there, you just know it now.
Yes.
So let's start talking about these games. These are 50 Clues, the second series of 50 Clues games. If you have followed along on our reviews of escape room games before, you know that we really loved the first series of 50 Clues. It was dark, it was horrible, it was not for kids and not for the faint of heart. It was basically felt like the closest you would get to a horror movie in a escape room board game. You played not as the nice guys, you played as a horrible person, and you did horrible things, and you saw that. Yeah. So that's what happened there. So this is like turning it around, playing as a detective instead. We're not going to do any spoilers of the story, not going to go anything of that, but it just kind of continue on the story from the last game.
Yes.
So it's not that you have to play the first one, but you can. So yes. Escape room games are kind of hard to review because we can just talk briefly about it in the I don't know, the surface. Yeah. That's the word I was looking for.
I had very high expectations after playing the first series because I thought that was so good. Like puzzles wise, some of the best puzzles I've ever seen in escape room games. They were logical, they were innovative, they were cool, and they made sense. And also the theme, although very dark, it felt unique and fresh, and it was very tense, and you got like this, you got very immersed in the setting. With this game, it fell a little below those expectations for me. Both story-wise, it wasn't that interesting for me. It was, and it made sense, and it followed along like a red thread and all of that. But you can't really match the immersion in the first one.
Nope, I
felt like, and puzzles-wise, also, it wasn't as good as in the first one for me.
I felt like some of the puzzles were a bit repetitive, like there was a lot of the same-ish puzzle, like the same type of puzzle. It's hard to come up with all these puzzles, so it's completely understandable, but it was not... Yeah, basically I agree with everything you said. Also, I really enjoyed like it felt so different, the first one. This also felt like it's dark, but it's not as dark as the other ones.
Yes.
I did enjoy some things that's happened in the story and some things that I didn't see coming. So it's not bad by any means, but it's just like not as good as the first one. So like 50 Clues, the first one is still one of my favorite escape room games.
Yes.
This is going to be like more in the middle of the bunch. Like we played so many of them. This is by far not the worst, looking at you, Dexcape, and it's by far not the best, which is 50 Clues, the first one.
But there were solid puzzles in this game. A lot of like, okay, we should have gotten that. That makes sense. I like when puzzles do that. Then, if I understand it, it's fine because not every puzzle works with every brain. But like that, it makes sense. But the feeling that I got from the first series is that it felt very, I don't know, organic, and that's not a thing that I often say about escape room games because they feel like we have forced a puzzle in there because but in the last one you were inside the head of a crazy person, so you could let a lot of that slide, so
it made a lot of sense. Which is not like something, as you said, not something we need in an escape room game, but since it worked so well in the first one. So let's not look at it compared to the first one. Let's look at it like as a game, because you can buy this and you don't need to know anything about the first one to play this. I would say like if you are very much into escape room games and you want something that feels different, I think you should get this.
Yes.
Because it does feel different than Unlocked and Exit and all of the big ones. Both because of the style. It's a very like dark. These are the colors in the game.
Yes.
Like there's no other colors in the game than red and like
These
gray.
beige
Beige, gray, like sepia. I think
Yes.
that's a lot of that, which is really nice, very stylistic, all of that. So if you want something that looks and feels different, but still having a good app that works good, still having good puzzles,
Yes.
I think you should get this. But I don't think it's as strong as some of the other escape room games, and especially the first one.
Yes, I agree.
So what do you want to rate this?
Oh, rating of this is hard. I usually think like rating escape room games is weird.
Yeah.
Because they're so different and they're more.
But you would also rate a movie. Like you could go and rate a movie, and it's not like, oh, this is so different from all the other movies, so I can't rate it.
Yeah, that's true. But escape room games is for me a little on this side. Like it's on the edge of being a board game for me and crossing over to something else. So giving it a board game rating feels a little weird. But like in terms of comparing it to other escape room games, I would say that this is like a 6. It's a little above average for me. A little above the average escape room game, but nothing amazing for me this time.
I think like I would rate the other one maybe a 9.
Oh yeah,
I think this is a 6 for me as well. So if you are a hardcore escape room gamer, I think you should get this. If you don't mind the horrible things happening in the other one, get that one first.
Yes.
So that is that.
Then we have the expansion. This is the Expedition Leaders expansion for the Lost Ruins of Arnak.
That's correct.
And
that's the one.
We have a taste for what do you call it? These individual player powers, which this expansions add.
Let's just if people have not seen it yet, like it's been out since Spiel, so most people have seen it and heard about it. What this adds is basically 6 different, I think, 6 different leaders that you can play with, which has their own player board with special abilities and has their own little small like starting deck of cards. The other big thing it adds is 2 new temples like that you can play with. The first game, like the base game, has 2, like the beginner one and then the full one, and this has 2 more that adds a bit more, like basically variability. And other than that, it adds just new stuff to the game, which is always nice. Like if you play the game a lot, you just add that in and you can get some new cards and new assistants and new monsters and all of that. So there's 2 things that it adds, and for me, I think like it does it in a great way. Like it adds a tiny little twist to the game without changing it a lot.
Yes.
Like for example, the player powers are small, but they feel important. And the cards you start with are not that different, but they feel like, it feels a bit different to play it this time than playing as the other character. So you have something like some ideas to what to go for and some differentiation in how you play, basically.
Yes, I agree. I think it changes enough that I think it's a great expansion to get. I think that playing with the different leaders felt interesting.
Yeah.
And some of the times I was just like, I did this. I think I did this really well. And the other time I was just like, I can see how I can utilize this leader better in another round now that I kind of know what playing style that leader is good at. So I thought it added just enough, but not too much to the game, that it kept like the core design that I like as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very easy to implement. Like most of the stuff is just shuffle it in, and then if you want to play with a temple, you can do that. And if you want to play with the leaders, you can do that. And also they have like the leaders, some of them are easier to play with, so you have like that order also in the rulebook. I think this is one of those expansions that, like, we don't play that many expansions because we don't play the same game like time and time again. But this is one of those expansions that I will never play without. Like, there's no reason. It's easy enough to teach a new player who haven't played a game. I feel like if you're playing as complex game as Lost Ruins of Arnak is, I think it's not going to be a problem to have like 2 new extra rules to play the game. So I think this is a fantastic expansion. I think this is one, it was so much fun to play the game again, and even more fun to play with this and play different play styles. I think this is one that if you like Lost Ruins of Arnak and you haven't got this yet, I think you should get it.
Yeah, I don't think it is essential to the game in any means, because the game is great on its own, but as you said, it's so simple to add. It feels natural to add it every time, so I think if you're buying it, you will naturally include it in almost every play that you have, and you will be happy with it.
Yeah, and I think like this is one of those expansions that if you play Lost Ruins of Arnak a few times, you would want to get
Yes.
a like little bit of
I agree.
differentiation. So what do you want to rate this?
Oh, yeah, rating expansions as well.
This is a hard episode for you.
Harder and harder.
Du-du-du-du.
In terms of other expansions, or
No, in this expansion, like how...
yes, but what am I rating it?
No, you're just rating this expansion.
That
From 1 to 10. How good is this expansion?
this expansion? Okay, yes. This is. I think this is a 7.5. It's
So it's not that good.
oh yeah.
For me, it's a 9.
Well, 7 is good.
Okay.
8 is great. We agreed upon this.
So
it's a very good expansion.
But how, let's say, what did you rate Lost Ruins Arnak? Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
But I think it was more than a 7.5. So
Yes.
it means that this expansion makes it worse.
No, I don't like rating expansions. I give up.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I think
Good
it
for
really,
you.
really adds to the game.
What did you rate?
Probably an 8 or something.
Yeah,
like
so you
that.
think this is better than the game?
I think this makes the game better.
Okay, so you would rather play this
If
than
that's
just
not
being
possible.
difficult.
But if you add this to the game, I think then it adds. Let's say I rated an 8 and I add this, and now it's a 9. So
I'm just thinking, if you rated Lost Ruins of Arnak, let's say an 8,
2.
and then you add a 9, then you get 15.
No,
you
you
don't.
don't. You get 17. Maths!
Yes.
Board gaming maths.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, so I think it's a fantastic expansion. You should get it if you have not already.
Yes.
Next up, we have this one. This is Libertalia Winds of Galecrest, or Galecrest, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
This is the
Galecrest.
reimplementation of Libertalia, which we actually not that long ago, probably more than I think, but not that long ago, played for Keeper Co.
Yeah.
And now we have played this a few times, and I like Libertalia. We kept it.
Yes,
I
we
thought that
did.
we called it. I was pretty sure about that. And this adds a few things.
So did we keep it?
Yes,
No,
we
I'm
did.
very
It's up there.
Oh, it is.
I
Okay.
checked.
Yes, we were a little bit unsure. I remember.
Yeah, we didn't even remember what we keep because we have
so
many
many
games. Fewer now, but still many. I think that they have, what they did with this is they have added the artwork, which you either like or you dislike. So for you, like or dislike for the artwork?
For the artwork, I really liked the classic old version because it was so piratey.
Yes.
So with this,
it's very piratey. It's basically
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Yeah. And I like the old artwork better.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
For this kind of game, I was more into the theme of it with the old. Yes, but this is totally fine as well. I've gotten used to it now.
I agree with that. I think it's more gritty and more piratey.
Yeah.
But I think this also looks nice. It's a.
But I think it's cool that they have ships in the sky this time and animals, peoples.
And I think it was a good move to make it different so that it feels like a different game.
It doesn't.
No, but most of the game is the same. The biggest thing they have changed up is the reputation.
Yes.
Because when you play in the original, when you play the same number, then if I was the red player, or I don't remember if I had a red deck of red cards, I think I did, and then my number 2 was, for example, always first in line or second in line or third in line. But here you can change that up, so it's not a static thing, which I think is the by far best change of the game.
Yes, I like that change too. It doesn't really add a lot to think about because a lot of that happens automatically. You get something good, then you go down in reputation, or and then it also decides how many monies you start. Monies.
Doubloons.
Yes, the
Monies, that's from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, and if I start with high reputation that round, then I get less money to balance it out. I like that.
So yeah, and the other change they've done is to change it from 30 cards to 40 cards. Many of them has to do with reputation, so that you have, and we haven't sat down and looked at all the cards and see if they changed any of the cards in the game. We haven't take number 1 and number 1, number 2 and number 2. Haven't done that. But I think that adds more variability to the game. So the changes I think are good. And I also actually think the game is pretty good.
But the board is also a little changed.
Oh yeah, they changed. Like it's more. You see all the different loot things.
Yeah, all the loot tokens in this game.
It's a Stone game. You know you'll get.
And you can choose if you want to play with like a nice side of the board or a little meaner side of the board. I like that. Then you can see what kind of group you're with, and not make them too fussy if they're a little fussy.
I think this game is fun. Like this is not one I will pick to play often because it's not in the genre where I like it the most. But you can play it up to 6 players, which we did,
that's really nice.
and it worked pretty well. Played in like an hour and 15 minutes with 6 players.
Yeah.
It's more chaotic with more people. Like it's
and...
less strategic. Like you cannot. If you're 4 players, you can think like, okay, I know that player played the card, so the chance of the other players playing it, I will play my card now and hope that I will be the only one playing that card. You can't do that much with 6 players. It's a lot more things that can randomly happen, but you just need to...
And that depends also what cards you're playing with that round. Something changes up quite a bit. Some cards are more basic and doesn't change up that much.
And that is random every time you play, so you never really know what you will get. That's kind of like a negative thing about the game. Like you don't know you can get cards that all are horrible and don't work with each other and are not that fun to play, or you can get cards which are going to make great combos and are a lot more fun to play with.
But everybody gets the same cards.
That is
so
true.
You're all in
or
the
else
same
the game
boat.
Would be horrible. You're in the same... No,
literally.
you're actually in different boats.
Oh,
different ships,
Oh,
yes.
I thought you were in this... Okay.
That would be a very weird game. Why would the same crew try to find different treasures? We're on our different ships trying to find treasures, but we have clones of everyone.
Forget the theme. I don't get it anymore.
No, we have clones of everyone. So everyone have the exact same people on the boats. And we go out, and there's not clones, but they are the same. So
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but Libertalia is a good game. I think for me, I would rather keep this than keeping the other one because it has the reputation, and it has the more cards and more variability.
Yeah, I agree. I want to keep this for the reputation. I like the old artwork better, but I will get used to it.
I have an idea. We cut out the artwork on the old one and we glue them on top of the artwork on this one.
Or we can just like
very nice,
make a makeshift reputation track for the other version. That would be so much easier.
And the 10 cards that you need that actually has something to do with reputation. Or else reputation will always just be the same.
We can add these. That would be... Oh, you don't see what card I'm playing.
I don't know what I have left. So yeah, what do you want to rate this? I agree this is a weird one to rate because it's just the same game.
This was the easiest to rate from all of the things that we've rated today. I think this is a very fun game to play with a lot of players. And I like how the game works, and it's fun, and it's a little, take daddy and chaotic sometimes, but that's the gist of the game. I'm fine with that. I think this is a 7.5 for me. It's a really good game. I'm
going to give it 7.5 as well. 7.5, that was too few words into 7.5 as well.
Yeah.
A fun game, not fantastic, but one. This is kind of in the same genre as for me as, even though they're very different games, as Nothing Personal, which is games I don't need to play often, but I do like them and I want to be able to play them once in a while. So those are 3 more games.
It is.
What does that mean?
That means that the video is over.
It is. Why are you still here? You want to listen to us saying the subscriber thing. If you are still here and you haven't subscribed, how can you do that?
You can click the subscribe button below. It's fun and it's free and makes us happy like this.
There's also a bell button you can ring. And that gives you notifications.
That's also free. If you want to do something that's not free, you can.
Go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and help us out there. And that is the actual end of the episode. If you are still here and you have not subscribed, that's the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings. And bye-bye.